This episode of A Conversation with John Conenna is sponsored by Generate. In today's digital age, staying ahead means harnessing the power of generative AI. Wondering how your small or medium-sized business can join this revolution? Look no further than Generate, your strategic partner for integrating cutting-edge generative AI solutions. We create personalized plans, adapting existing AI technologies to fit your specific business needs. Plus, our expert team provides essential training, empowering you to make the most of these innovative technologies. Interested in transforming your business with AI? Reach out to us at generateteam@gmail.com. That's generate, GENERAIT, team@gmail.com. And now, on with the episode.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of A Conversation with John Conenna. Tonight, we're going to go down a different road, a road that kind of excites me because we're going to talk about a family business that has been in business 61 years. 61 in a day and age where computers and technology have taken over. This place has stood the test of time and was saved, I feel, in a way, by a third-generation grandson who made this thing explode even more than it ever was before. Tonight, I'd like to bring in Sal Demma, who is the owner of the Giuseppe's Pizzeria and Catering here in Des Plaines, Illinois, at 554 East Algonquin in Des Plaines. A restaurant at one time that started in 1963, was known for dining, known for its staple, probably one of the best pizzas in Illinois. And in 2018, I'll never forget it, in August of 2018, when they had closed their doors on December 31st of 2017, in August of 2018, Sal Demma decided to take the venture of saying, we're going to keep this going. Sal, what is going on with you, young man? And thank you for coming in. This is a pleasure.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks for having me on here. This should be a cool thing to do. I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks for having me. Obviously, as you mentioned, I'm third generation owner of Giuseppe's Pizzeria Catering. My grandfather, Giuseppe Brunetti, started the business in 1963 with his brother-in-law, Nick Emilio. And the business was once called Nick's La Cantina. Then I believe in 1991, my mom, my aunt, and my uncles took ownership and then named it Giuseppe's La Cantina in honor of my grandfather, Giuseppe. And then, as you mentioned, in 2018, I took over as a third generation owner. Tried to bring some new ideas. Once I started, decided that it was time to just do takeout, delivery, and catering. As most places have seen, there's a bigger demand for that takeout and delivery aspect of the business. So I really wanted to run with that. And I thought it was a great timing to kind of downsize the business from like a full dining room and banquet hall just to focus on delivery and catering. So that's kind of how I started it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what a move you made when you did make that move. But I got to tell you, I'm the old version, I think, of the Sal Demma in the sense of this. You came out of nowhere because when do you think, we're going to go backwards and then we'll get to the level, of course, of what we want to talk about it. But when did you start to think, was it in your teen years when you were in high school that you said, hey, I kind of like this. I see my mom and my dad and my aunts and my uncles are at this every day. You saw that this was a 7-day-a-week venture, grinding it out every day. When do you think it hits you like you say, okay, I'd like to take a little stab at this. I think I remember seeing you there part-time a few times. When do you think it clicks for you?
So for me, I feel like it took a little while before it clicked. I obviously was working there my whole childhood. from the start of maybe when I was 12, 13, being a busboy, then eventually a cashier, a phone person, to a server, to a bartender. I want to say that it kind of hit me that I actually that I enjoyed doing this and I had a passion for the business. I started to recognize some things. I feel like for me, it was probably in my college years and a little bit after college when I was like, you know what, I could see myself doing something. Like you said, I knew what it entailed. I knew what the business, the grind, 7 day a week kind of thing.
Right.
But some people are built for it and some people are not. I mean, I quickly recognized that this is something I felt like I could do and do successfully. So I want to say probably in my 20s is when I recognized, when it just kind of clicked, that this was something that interested me.
You know, and being the outsider looking in, and I want to tell the audience, I've been coming to this restaurant since 1965 that I can remember visibly seeing this, place when it was on 1062 Lee Street at that time. I have to tell you, I saw you a few times in there, and I remember one night coming in there, and I think your Uncle Vito was there with Mom, Antoinette, and of course, Aunt Mary and Joanne. I said, wow, he's already making pizzas. And you were, I think, maybe just out of Maine West or still at Maine West High School. And I was like, wow, what a relief. Because as you know, I don't have to tell you, to find any kind of help in anything nowadays is you have to be almost like have a college education to hire people, let alone have them work. Yeah, I think you brought a little stability while it was still a sit-down restaurant. Do you agree with me?
I do agree. And I think that I actually, as I started to work more in the kitchen versus just being the server or being in the outside restaurant piece, I started to actually enjoy the business more once I got more involved with like the cooking aspect and making pizzas and stuff like that. I feel like that once I started doing that, I really started to started feeling intrigued, like, and started really kind of grasping onto this idea.
Did you ever think, here's the craziest one of the interview tonight. Did you ever think, can I do this? Can okay, because you talked about all the aspects, and I remember my father telling me, hey, you got to learn everything here. The dollar amount, this, the what you have to do with the dealing with the clients, the money, everything else. Did you think to yourself, man, can I make a pizza like Grandpa? Can I make a pizza like Uncle Vito or my dad? What was the aspect of the place where you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this? Or what was the aspect of the place where you said, man, I got this?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, everybody thinks that making a pizza or working in the kitchen is something very easy to catch on to, but it's not as easy as people think.
Right.
So I was a little, like you said, I was a little intimidated initially making it because we had a certain standard quality kind of pizza that we made and customers expected, a good looking pizza, so it did take me some time, you know what I mean? So probably the first, let's say, 6 months of making pizzas, I was kind of scared and intimidated, but once you catch on, it starts to click.
You know, great what you said, because I've been in the old place on a Monday night when was kind of like, Monday or Tuesday. Well, Mondays, I remember them being closed, but let's say a Tuesday night where it was kind of mellow. But I've been in that kitchen on a Friday night when we would go visit Mom and Dad. And those tags are up there. And, it's not like you're going to make a pizza at 1 mile an hour. You're rocking and rolling.
Yes, it's
About,
very,
yeah,
very fast-paced business. And like you said, when you have those tickets just printing out, then you got to put them in the oven, you got to cut them. The tickets don't stop. It's a Friday night. It gets crazy.
right, right.
But it kind of exciting. Time goes by faster when it's busier. I mean, the key is just working with the other people well. Like if you don't have a good team behind you, or the other pizza makers don't get along with each other, or if you're not cohesive unit, you're not going to be able to keep up. So I think
Right.
that's the key is you got to have good people.
This is all, I tell people, these are all moving parts to this business, moving part. And let's factor in, I'm going to say it this way to you, Sal. It's July 5th. It's 95 degrees outside. How many degrees is it inside? Now you're dealing with the element of the heat and cooking this food. You've been there, of course, day in and day out. That plays a big factor in this too, doesn't it?
It does, and it plays a big factor in people's moods. Like you said, when it's 95 degrees outside, you got your, big pizza oven, you got all your compressors, you got all your coolers, you got your range, you got your grill, you got your fryers. It's probably a good, oh, definitely over 100 degrees. I don't care how much air conditioning you have in your place, it just can't keep up. So that does play a big role. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So, you have to be rested, you have to stay hydrated, you have to, be ready.
And keep the level head while all this is going on. Tickets, different orders, who's bringing back food, who's bringing in food. Yeah, it was crazy. My thing with you was this, and please always correct me with this if I was wrong. The spinoff toward the later years of the Giuseppe's La Cantina, where I said one night, I said to my wife, Connie, I says, I think Sal's really interested in this. And she says, well, why do you think? Well, they're going to open up a little thing just outside of here called Giuseppe's Express. And I said that night, driving home one night, I says, God, they should have done this probably a while ago because this restaurant is a grind. Things are changing. Rosemont was growing. When I was a kid coming from Norwich to Giuseppe's La Cantina, that was the next pizzeria from Norwich. Now you got Rosemont, you got all these suburbs, you got all these guys trying pizzerias and everything else. But the Giuseppe's Express, for me, when you dabbled with it, to show your family, hey, let's do it this way, a lunchtime stop, this and that. Was that the beginning for you? That little, let's give it a shot?
I do agree with that. It kind of got my mind going and kind of getting me ideas on what worked, what didn't work. And I thought the Giuseppe's Express, I think I opened it. I don't know exactly, but I want to say it was probably about 11, 12 years ago. It was a
Yes,
good learning experience for me. We had paninis, we had subs, we had pizza by the slice.
right.
And we kind of, like you said, dabbled with a few things, kind of trial and error for us. It was connected into our existing space. So I think initially some customers were kind of confused if it was different, it was the same. So for me, it was the start, I feel like. It gave me the courage, it gave me, the idea that this is something I want to do. And then I eventually kind of build upon that and
Right.
kind of figured out like what worked, what didn't work, what I needed to do to be successful.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was basically, yeah, okay, this is it. We're going to give it the trial and error. And I thought the trial and error, it was okay, maybe not what you wanted at that time, but by having the foundation of the restaurant, it was a good fit for you. While now, as we fast forward to where we have now the Giuseppe's Pizzeria and Catering on Algonquin, when did you know? Did you know when the door closed on December 31st of 17? Did you know already in your mind with your family that, hey, you know what? We're going to get off the canvas like the boxer, and we're going to keep this going. Did you know? Did you know? Because I got to tell you, as we go forward with this, I can't think of a family that could have been more prouder than you when you took this shot at this attempt. Because, I'll never forget that night. I was there for the last night. There wasn't a dry eye in the house because the people that came there, I mean, that was a place for us to come there once a week. What made you decide that, okay, now I got to do this?
Well, I mean, I mean, as I mentioned before, I'm pretty passionate about it, and I started to get really interested in the business and wanted to continue it. Um, at first, there was times where, you're reluctant a little bit just because the demand that the business entails on your life. I needed to first
Sure.
talk with my wife, Catherine, and make sure she was on board for a
Sure.
venture like this. Obviously, I saw what it, over the years, with my family, how I don't want to say impacted, but I knew, how it changed people's lives and the amount of
Sure.
time you have to be there. So that was my only reluctancy, was the commitment that it brings. But once I got past that point, then I was like, I'm all on board. I'm ready to go. The next step was just trying to find a location. And absolutely, there was no doubt that I was going to stay in Des Plaines. People like
Oh yeah.
customers like, are you going to leave? Where are you going? Are you actually going to open up? I know you say you're going to, but will you actually? Um, so it took us probably from the time they closed on December 31st, it took me probably another 3 months after that to secure a location nearby. And
Location.
then eventually, once I signed the lease to move to that location,
Right.
then it was,
I got to tell you, if you go back on, which now is an outdated word, I'll use this as the
yeah.
outdated word now in our lifetime, Facebook, because Instagram and of course TikTok and all these things have taken over, Snapchat. But back then, when this was growing, you know what the biggest word, and I think it was Aunt Joanne or somebody put out a post, opening soon, opening soon, opening soon. But the biggest word was a 4-letter word in those comments. It was the word WHEN. When this was a building crescendo, and when August came, I still remember the day you guys borrowed my little Fiat for this.
Coming soon, the 4th of July parade at Des Plaines.
Yes, I still remember it. Yeah, and
But to kind of piggyback off what you were saying with the excitement of us actually opening, we were closed
it was
for 8
tremendous.
months. And like you said, we've been around since 1963. So there's been customers that have been ordering our pizza and our food since 1963. They were leaving us. We kept the same phone number. I activated the voicemail, kept that going. We would probably get at least 5 or 6 or 7 voicemails every week asking, when are you opening? We miss your food. We even had people trying to place orders, still not realizing we
It's
were closed.
crazy, right?
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the excitement to reopen was amazing.
It was
And
amazing.
from day one, when we actually did August, I think it was August 15th of 2018, when we did kind of like a soft opening, it was just from day one, people were
Yeah.
ordering.
Yeah, and I never forget that soft opening for sure. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a picture up when this comes out in a couple of days of that soft opening that I have. I got to tell you, so when you open, of course, now you got this legacy of Grandpa. And Grandpa Giuseppe, Grandma Domenica. You got this legacy of your mom, Antoinette, Sam, Aunt Joanne, Vito, Uncle Vito, Aunt Mary. You got this legacy. You got this legacy. But what thrilled me about you, because it's a big family, don't get me wrong. And like I says, if I don't step up to the plate for my dad's place, it's over 30 years ago. Okay, so this is why this is so special to me tonight. So you stepped up to the plate. You said you got this. Do you remember after the soft opening? Because now this place starts to rock again. Starts to rock in a different way. Yeah, you don't have a restaurant, you don't have servers, but now you got this. You're known for your pizza. The pizza has been the staple since 63. You're known for your catering. I think your catering, in my opinion, Salvatore, is underrated. But every time somebody orders from you, it's like, wow, they have a great catering system. I mean, I can imagine all the places. If we had another half hour night, the catering, and then of course, we'll talk about this great distinction that you got this week to just put things over the top when you go one-on-one with a veteran like Portillo's and defeat him in a contest. That's huge. That's huge where I come from. So now, in August of this year, we're going to talk, it's going to be 7 years now. How do you feel these 7 years have gone? For me, looking in, I think every year you've only gotten bigger and better on the dance floor. Your opinion?
Correct. I mean, in the 7 years or almost 7 years we've been open, I feel like we've gradually grown each year. We've kind of figured things out, like kind of figure out how to be the most efficient we possibly can in the space that we got. We've expanded our business. We've reached more people in nearby towns like Mount Prospect, Arlington Heights. And then as you mentioned before, that catering aspect, we have grown a great deal with that. We recently did a party with like 18 servers and 450 people.
Wow.
So we could do a 10-person catering order. We could do a 500-person catering order. We have, servers and all that stuff, full setup, delivery, cleanup, you know what I mean? So we've really expanded and we've done it the right way. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And the key to our success is the help that we have. I mean, like you mentioned before, it's very hard to find help. We've had a lot of long time employees that have been loyal to us.
Yes.
And as I mentioned when I was on CBS, it's like our employees are like our family. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like you build a relationship, you build a friendship with these people. You're working with them every day. That's the key to your success. If your employees are not on board, you're not going to go anywhere.
Right. Exactly. And, and
Bottom line.
and there's the respect factor. Again, as the outsider looking in over all these years, I wish I could mention all your employees. I mean, I know most of them, but I mean, you see the respect because that employee is not going to last that long, but it's the way you've treated them and the way they've treated you. It's been a great combination. Sal, have you had to tweak a lot of things? Because it was done a different way by, of course, the Vito, Antoinette, your mom, and of course, Mary and Joanne, the staples of that second generation. Did you have to tweak things where there's one thing I love about you that I notice about you? You could talk to you absorb it, you'll be very respectful, and you'll say thank you for your opinion. But I notice one thing about you. We're going to do it Sal's way now. We're not going to get 55 million opinions. Put this over here, this much salt in the pizza. Try this, try this, try this. Have you tweaked it in a way where do you think now, without anybody getting offended here from the past, that your way now is, we took it to a different level, food-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, like you mentioned, I respect people's feedback and will always take that into consideration. But if I have a strong feeling about something and I'm going to go with my gut feeling, like you said. I feel like I have enough experience now to know what's right, what's wrong, if something's off. But one thing I will say that makes us unique and different, that I'm still using a lot of the same recipes that my grandfather started in 1963. All our marinara, our meat sauce, our pizza sauce, our meatballs. That's what makes us special, in my opinion, is the fact that today, in this age where labor is hard to find, a lot of restaurants are getting away from prepping a lot of things in-house. For us, that's what sets us apart from others. I'll never change it. As long as I'm the owner and I'm in control, we're going to make homemade, fresh recipes. And if we can't do that, then, we shouldn't be around, because
Exactly.
I think that's what people are getting away from these days, is they're buying a lot of stuff out of house. They're not making it in-house. Maybe they'll buy a sauce and just, doctor it up or tweak it. No, we don't do that. You know what I mean? So for me, I rather give a better product. And yeah, it might take a little longer. You might need a little more help, but to me, you're putting a better product out there, and that's more important to me. Even if it's maybe the margin's going to be a little bit smaller because you need to spend more time prepping, but that's fine with me.
Sal, if it's the one-time customer or the customer that's been coming forever and a day, I like what you just said because, like, say we're not mentioning any other names, any other restaurants here, but you're right. Would you consider what you said and how I take it was by these people doing what they're doing? They're cutting corners now, and but the customer like me is finally going to notice, there's something off here about this, and something's not right. 3 months ago, I had the same thing and it tastes different. Is that, the thing that you worry about as the owner, right?
Absolutely. And I don't want to change our recipes. I don't
Right.
want to tweak our things because 3 generations ago, they figured out how to do it. And now we're just trying to continue that.
Right.
Why change? Why fix something that's not broken? You
Exactly.
know?
Right. No, perfectly said. Perfectly said. I got to tell you, as we're going to move forward, and I didn't know this about you until this past week, when this all thing broke loose. I want to tell our audience tonight that's going to see this here on YouTube and Spotify in a couple days, that Giuseppe's, for people that don't know, Giuseppe's Pizzeria and Catering in Des Plaines went on a challenge contest from CBS Chicago for the best Italian beef sandwich. And I'll tell you, when I heard it at first, I was like, okay, it's done. It's over with. It's going to be like I turn to my family members. I go, yeah, this is great. Let's vote. Let's vote. We've had it. And I'll tell you, it's a great beef because I've had it in the catering sense and I've had it in the sandwich sense, meaning I'll stop there and get it sometimes. But you know what? This is the thing about this. You went up against some giants. This was like a David and Goliath thing, because I was like, okay, yeah, they're going to announce it Monday that it's Portillo's or Buona beef. It's over. But I'll tell you, for you to get the accolade that you did from these people, the people that voted for you, these are people that had your food, your sandwich. This was a homemade thing. And how you just said it now, were you shocked that the outpouring for this? Because I was like, wow, this is so cool. What was going through your mind? It's about your preparation, correct?
Correct. And going to the beef aspect of the preparation we do, like we make our own beef in-house, We make our own beef stock, our jus. We have our same specialty seasoning that we've been using forever. So everything is made fresh for us with our beef. And like you said earlier, I think in general, our food sometimes is, in my opinion, underrated. Like you said, the catering aspect, even the beef sandwich. There was people after this contest going to us and being like, I didn't even know you sold beef. I'm like, what do you mean you didn't know we sold beef? You know what I mean? It was kind of like a sleeper item that people didn't know about. But going back to the contest in general, like initially when we got nominated in there, I was like you said, like I'm like, we'll see where this takes us. But by
Right.
no means did I expect to take down a Johnny's or take down a Portillo's or a Jay's or Al's, any of that. You know what I mean? Definitely did not expect that. Um, so once we started getting further into the competition, then it started to become real. Like we have a small possibility, it was super exciting
It was
to
growing.
see the reach that it was, how
Sure.
many people it was reaching, how many people were emailing us, texting us like, hey, we got your back. We're voting for you. Your food is awesome. Your beef is great. You know what I mean? I hope you win. So yeah, it was an awesome experience from, let's say from the final 8 to the championship. That's
Oh,
when it
it was.
started to get real. And just the recognition that it
Oh,
got for our business and our brand is, remarkable. Like I was mentioning you before we came on air, already we're seeing a lot of new customers just kind of stopping in, trying to, they might not even just get a beef, you know what I mean? Now they're going to try our pizza, they're going to try our ribs, they're going to try our
right.
cheese sticks, whatever, or salad.
Exactly.
So now we're getting people through the doors from this competition. So that's even more amazing from a business owner standpoint. So this has been unreal and been very just awesome, you
You
know?
know, how you broke this down before we started talking about this great contest that you guys, won this contest with CBS, which was fantastic. And of course, CBS coming out to the restaurant and how you were telling. But again, it's your preparation, it's your work ethic, how you guys are in that kitchen. I know I've talked to Joanne many times, your aunt, Joanna Brunetti. And she tells me, "Hey, Johnny, we're here. We're on top of this. We're on top of this 24/7." And what I love about you, here you are, this young man. Uh, you are on top of every aspect of your business. It's not like you're standing by the door and go, "How did we do tonight?" Let's say if it was Cella. "How did we do tonight, Cella? Did we do okay?" You're there. You're in the trenches, correct? Every night looking, if it's the chicken for the banquet, for the catering, or if it's the potatoes that has to go with the chicken, the pasta dishes, your pasta dishes. Wait, here's another thing. Your pasta dishes, because your grandmother and your grandfather, they were known for the pastas too in the 60s. People in the late 60s would line up for pasta and chicken outside of that restaurant. And I remember a late Saturday night crowd, because that place used to be open until 2 in the morning. Now people are coming in for this pizza. It would be this massive rush for dinner and that, but you have encompassed this into this unbelievable system. Do you feel like there's other aspects that you would like to see this taken to? Because your first 7 years here are tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of going the way I expected, and not really. I'm satisfied with what the business is doing and how we're going about things. So I just kind of, for me, it's just I just want to kind of continue the success and keep things going strong, and like you mentioned, like staying on top of things, um, being present, and kind of making sure that Giuseppe's is still, considered a top-notch kind of place to get food from. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the
Right.
quality will always be there. You know what I mean? So I just kind of want to continue that legacy that we started a long time ago and kind of just ride that, because that's the most satisfying part of the business for me, is being successful, delivering good food, having longtime customers, you know, congratulate us when we win that beef contest when no one expected us to take down, a Portillo's or a
Oh, yeah.
Johnson. No disrespect to them, because their beef's awesome.
Yes.
I love
Right.
their beef. You know what I mean? And some people might like their beef better than ours, and that's fine. But like you said earlier, I think people recognize the quality we have, and everything's made in house.
Right.
That is
And
what sets us
and
apart.
Sal, I didn't know that until a family member of mine, of course, told me, and of course, then you told me verbally over the phone before we set up this interview, that you make your own beef. You make your own beef. You're doing everything. You're prepping this beef every day. And of course, I have to ask you a question before we go into do a little thing, because your time is valuable and I appreciate it. We got about 4 or 5 minutes left here. How it's a Friday, it's a Saturday night. Okay. And I mean I've been in your place on a Wednesday and Thursday in the catering place to pick up a pizza, but it's a Friday and a Saturday night. And of course, those tickets are lining up, and I couldn't even fathom how many pizzas you make. How does a Sal Demma know? I mean, okay, you're going to get a call from a customer that says, "Hey, last Friday we had the same thing, and tonight it's a little salty." Or this Friday, you know what? You forgot the mushrooms. How are you able to concentrate? This is my thing about making these pizzas, because it is the staple of Giuseppe's without question. And I want to congratulate you on the beef thing, but how do you know? Do you kind of have that peripheral vision when you see your pizza maker? Okay, is he got it going on tonight? Is he off? Is he on? He's almost like a pitcher. Is he throwing the right curveball? Is he throwing a slider? how's he lining up that pizza? Are you able to tell with the naked eye from what you're doing?
I do. I agree, and that's what sets apart like a good kitchen manager, a good owner that's present in the business. You could recognize when, the pizza line is starting to fall behind, or they're having a tough time keep up, or they're a little bit busy on the line. And you know what I mean? When you're in the heat of the moment, a pizza maker, a cook, they're not going to ask you for help per se. They
Right.
almost want you to recognize that they need help. So if you're not present and you're not kind of having that eye and being in all the different spots,
Sure.
then they're going to fall behind or they're going to get upset. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I try to do in the kitchen is like, I don't necessarily not designated to one spot. I'm kind of a fill-in. I kind of go where
Right.
need be, you know what I mean? And I could make pizzas, I could work the line, I can answer the phones, I could take a catering order. Like you kind of got to be that utility man. And like you
Yes.
said, you need to recognize when things are not going so well, and you got to
Right.
kind of try to proactively go to that area before it gets bad. You know what I mean? And it's hard sometimes when it's chaotic and crazy on a Friday, Saturday night when you're dealing with issues,
Oh,
you're
wow.
trying to dispatch deliveries, you're trying to help the pizza line. It's like you don't know where to go. But on a normal night, if you're keeping an eye on things, you're gonna know the areas that need the most
Without a
help.
doubt. Last thing I want to say, Sal, is of course, I think like, we talked about respect in this interview tonight, like how, you show a great respect for your employees because those people would not still be there from the days of the Giuseppe's on Lee Street with mom and your two aunts and Uncle Vito. I have to tell you, I think when the employee sees that the owner is there, they show that you care and they're gonna care too. But when that owner's not there, the mice will play, I feel, in any aspect of any business. Hey, before I let you go, we're gonna play a little game. We're gonna get to know you a little bit better. And I got the biggest question at the end, and I don't know how you're going to answer it, but here we go. I got 5 questions for you, and then I'm going to let you go because this has been truly, truly a great thing for me tonight. Question number 1. Who is that early mentor besides mom and dad, besides Salvatore Demma, your father, and Antoinette Demma? Who's been that early mentor that you truly, to this day, say, wow, when it came to the restaurant business, besides them, man, he showed me a lot and I want to do this.
So my question to you is it more of like a family member or is it more of like an employee with
Yeah,
which
even that employer or that family member that, said, wow, you remember something they said or they taught you something that now you've taken into this 2024.
that's
One or
difficult.
one or two, one or two.
Yeah, I mean, I would, you know, um, thinking back to just like working in the kitchen and prepping things. Um, One name that comes to my mind would be Rumikio.
Yes.
He was a longtime pizza
Pizza maker for
maker
you
and
guys.
kitchen manager in there
Yeah.
and helped us out. He kind of taught me how to make the minestrone, make the meatballs, kind of showed me how to make pizzas, kind of
Wow.
got me started. And he put a lot of attention to detail
Sure.
and he did everything the right way. So like, and if you didn't do it the right way, he would call you out about it. So I think he was one of my mentors in the kitchen to kind of get me acclimated to like, getting more
Yeah.
involved.
Very nice. Very and great
Yeah.
kudos to him because I know he had started there in 1976. And I don't think it was a rumor. If I hope maybe one day Rumiko watches this, maybe through a family member. I think he worked by your family and also worked at a McDonald's full time. So I don't know when this man slept. Maybe he has never slept in his life.
Correct. But yeah, he was one. And then just, I
Yeah.
mean, all my aunts, uncles, my mom, they all kind of taught me
Yeah.
different aspects of the business. So they all played a role in kind of shaping me and kind of understanding the business a little bit. I kind of tried to grass a little bit from
Sure,
everyone because they
sure.
all have different
Yeah,
personalities.
and I get what experience between, of course, Mom, Aunt Mary, Uncle Vito, and of course Joanne. Just great experience. They, all had different levels. All right, question 2. We're gonna make it this one a little easier on you. What's Sal's Demma favorite movie of all time that he could watch 200 times and not get bored?
Ooh, I'm not a big movie guy, to be honest. Um, ah, my favorite movie.
Give me
Let's come
one or
back to
two.
let's come back to that question. I
All
need to
right, we'll
think
come
about
back
it
to it.
for a
Okay.
few minutes.
What was the best advice you got? Advice when you decided to take the plunge in 18? What was that advice where you can do this, you got this, kind of gave you that motivation? What was do you remember that one line or somebody said, could have been dad, could have been mom, could have been Uncle Vito, could have been anybody? What was that thing that really stuck in your mind when you said, I got this now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the one line, but just in general, the advice or recommendation, um, pretty much just kind of gave me the confidence that, you put in the hard work, you put in the time, now it's kind of your time to shine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So go with it, go 100%, and this is gonna work out for you. And my Aunt Joanne was one of the people that kind of, before we opened, I had conversations with her like, hey, is this something I should do? You've been around in it. You know
Wow.
what I mean? And she said, you know what? If I didn't think it was a good idea, I would tell you straight to your face. She's like, you should do this.
Wow.
So that was probably my best advice. Or else maybe I per se might not have take that leap and
Right.
done this venture.
What a great confidence booster from Aunt Joanne, because
Yes.
I know in her heart of hearts she saw something in you. This guy can do it. All right. I gotta ask you, because I've never asked you this, and I've known you my whole life. What is Sal Demma's favorite pizza? What toppings does Sal Demma want on his pizza?
I think over the years I've had a change in heart in pizza. I would say sausage and hot giardiniera.
Okay. So you're not the eggplant guy like Dad.
No, eggplant. That's another good pizza.
That's a good one.
Sausage,
You guys make it
eggplant,
great.
mushroom, and our eggplant is, to die for. But yeah, I would say I like a little spice. So sausage giardiniera is my go-to right
All
now.
right, I'm gonna walk in there one day. I'm gonna go, I want the sales special. They better know what I'm talking about. All right, you don't got that favorite movie for me yet, right? No.
No, sorry.
How about a favorite song? What's a song that gets? Let's go to a song. What's a song that gets Sal Demma going when things are going good in that kitchen and you hear this song? Is there a rock song? Is there an R&B song? What's your song? Somebody's laughing in the background.
Yeah, that's Catherine laughing.
Of course, Catherine.
In the background.
Tell her I said hello.
I will. I don't know. My brain is not working right now.
All right, we'll let that one go.
We'll end on that one.
All right. I don't know how you're going to answer this. I think you're going to be so mad at me, but I got to shoot it at you. Question 5, and I'm going to let you go because I'll do a little thing that I got to say about you at the end. All right, here it is. Sal, I don't know how you're going to answer this. Sal, here's the ultimate question. Who's got the best beef in town?
Who's got the Giuseppe's Pizzeria and Catering, 534 East Algonquin Road.
Yeah. So you heard it here. The best beef in town is at Giuseppe's Pizzeria and Catering, 554 East Algonquin, Des Plaines, Illinois. I'm going to say it slow. Their phone number is 847-824-4230. And again, their website is Giuseppe's Pizzeria Catering.com. I want to leave you with something that touches me and brought a tear to my eye. And I meant that because I knew them. I knew them because they knew my parents, and that was Grandpa and Giuseppe and Grandma Domenica. Treated my parents with the utmost respect. Your grandpa did nothing without my father when it came to accountability, traveling, and everything else. There was a respect like you couldn't believe. between these four people. And of course, your aunts and uncles that were there at that time. But I got to tell you something. There's something in that website that touched me when I was doing the research on you today. And here's what it says. To this very day, one can still feel Giuseppe, your grandpa's attention to quality and fun, his loving spirit all throughout that restaurant. Sal, I got to tell you, and I want you to know this. It's hard to get a compliment out of Italian parents. My whole life, I waited for one from my father, and I got it from him the day he passed. He was very proud of me, he said that day, to keep that family business going. But I got to tell you, they are looking down on you and saying, thank the Lord that one of our grandkids kept it going. Sal Demma, you keep doing what you're doing. This is fantastic. If you could see under my shirt, I have goosebumps. This is fantastic, and I really want to thank you for tonight. This was a thrill.
No, thank you, Johnny. Thanks for having me on here, and appreciate our conversation in this. So we'll do it again.
You got it, and maybe that next time you'll have that song or movie for me.
I promise I will.
All right. We'll get this out on Spotify and YouTube in the coming days. And again, don't forget, in Des Plaines, Giuseppe Pizzeria and Catering. Tonight, our guest was Sal Demma. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.